So what did you land on for the fall? What is it, and what does it look like since you began?
So for the first 9 weeks, we made the decision we were going to go completely virtual.
Completely virtual.
So the challenge with that is, again, we were going to go virtual. We wanted to make sure that the technology is there.
Yeah.
So for the elementary school, we had iPads, and we configured those, and within the first couple of weeks of school, we got those out to the students. Now, fortunately, iPads, Chromebooks, laptops are becoming more and more a household item.
Sure.
So where we had anticipated that everybody would need an iPad, it turned out not everybody needed one. There were some students who already had them. And so that was good for us because we were able to maintain a reserve, and we were able to fill in at other grade levels where, our Chromebooks, we were waiting for them to arrive. And while we were waiting, we're like, okay, we've identified X number of students who are still using their cell phones. Let's at least give them an iPad until the Chromebook comes in. And as everybody knows, the whole issue with getting these Chromebooks and these laptops in has been a logistical nightmare. We ordered them in the middle of the summer. We're still waiting for some to arrive. We have some that have just shipped. So once they arrive, we have to configure them and get them out. But essentially, we started the year with the idea that we were going to go the first 9 weeks, and we were going to go completely virtual, and that we were going to supply whatever the technology needs that our students had from the school.
Got it. And is it fair to say that the percentage of students that are relying solely on like a phone or like personal device of that size is less now?
Oh yeah, significantly less. I mean, we're literally talking about at best a handful of students.
Okay.
Because again, what we've done with our staff meetings is, because they're entirely student focused, the question that we ask is, who has yet to get online?
Right.
Who is having technological issues? Is it a hardware issue? Is it a connectivity issue? Yeah. And thanks to some really great people, we're able to step in the gap and get them what they need. So if there are any remaining, it's a very small amount.
Okay. So first 9 weeks, what is the kind of project? If you think about what the future of the semester looks like, what happens next?
Yeah, I liken it sort of to a plane that's on the tarmac, and it's going down the tarmac, and there's a point where you're accelerating and picking up speed, and then there's a point where you take off.
Yeah.
And I think once the final Chromebook delivery hits, and that is delivered, it's probably within days from our conversation. Once that hit, the plane literally takes off the ground.
Okay.
Because then there's no limitation of what we can do with the students' education. Mm-hmm. Literally, we can send them printable text, they can send things to us. There's no issue with screens, there's no issue with watching things online and having them move on you, and you get that vertigo feeling, if you're watching somebody and their screen isn't stable. All of that goes away, right? And literally the Imani plane takes off, and now it's just the question of how high can we get the altitude? How high can we get the quality of engagement? How high can we get the quality of education? How not only interesting can we make this, but how engaged can we be with our students in a virtual setting?
How will you approach the idea of any in-person experiences moving forward?
Well, for us, and we are we're a very loving school. So that means, typically there'd be a lot of hugs and high fives and, just like shoulder bumps and all kinds of stuff going on here.
Yeah.
And COVID has certainly disrupted that to some degree. We're looking forward optimistically to a day when that returns. But we're also preparing for the reality, and that is, to the degree that we can convene in a safe, socially distanced way, 6 feet apart, potentially wearing masks, what have you, we're going to try and do that. So as we look forward to the next term and the next term, we are constantly tweaking that calculation. Can we bring in half the class and have the other half online? Can we bring in 3/4 of the class? Our goal ultimately is to be able to reconvene all the students in the school in a socially distanced way and keep them safe. We know that's a tall order given how this virus works. Yeah. So we're going to take small steps towards that as we go.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Could you give us a sense of the general landscape? So you're the head of school here. Mm-hmm. That COVID doesn't discriminate with its impact, and a lot of school districts and schools have been pivoting in many of the same ways, in different ways. What is when you talk with your peers and colleagues, what's your sense of how other people are
Everybody is really using their best judgment for their population, and I think if there's one commonality, it's that they're trying to serve their students the best way they can.
The best they can.
And so for some of my colleagues, it means parents and students that we want to be in school.
Yeah.
And they have convened school, and they are there, and they are socially distanced, and they are wearing masks, and they're sanitizing their buildings, and that has worked out really well for them. There are others that said the safest and best way for us is to go online. When we surveyed our parents, it was pretty clear that that's what our parents wanted, and that's what we've been able to provide. You know, and I think there is sort of this acceptance of the reality, which is this is what we must do for now. It is not necessarily what we prefer.
I see, yeah.
Right? And so I've seen, you know, colleagues open up their schools entirely, social distance, go completely the other way, and just go completely virtual online. And I've seen people who are doing the hybrid right in the middle, where students are coming in 2 days a week, they're coming in different groups, and they're providing online simultaneously with in-class instruction.